Hello, this is Assetto, and this is my attempt at making a tutorial video to help and try explain AI lines in Assetto Corsa. This is primarily meant for people that don't make tracks or don't have the ability to get tracks into, say, Blender or something like that. Big shout out to Lilski, who helped explain a lot of this and point me in the direction to all the information on the Assetto Corsa forums, which is where a good portion of this information came from. So anyway, there's kind of a lot of data to get through. It might take a while, but I'm going to try to cover everything, and hopefully the information is all correct. We'll see. We're going to start off with some terminology and then overview of the files involved. And I've got a screenshot here of sort of, when you're running and you're working on your AI lines in the software, there's some various things happening here. There's the various colored lines and whatnot. And so all this information here is comes out of files inside of these folders for these various tracks. So this is Hockenheim, and this is the data folder, and they have these sideline files, and these can be used to override track boundaries for, say, the left and the right side of the track, which helps direct the AI in the fast line. And over here, you'll see these are yellow. So the sidelines are the yellow portion here. Hopefully you can see my mouse. The fast lane is basically this purple line. And the purple line is somewhat related to the driver line here. And that's actually the ideal line. So the ideal line is here in this data folder. There's an AI hints file, which you can use to help speed up or slow down AI over the course of a lap, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. And then we have the pit lane, which is this blue line here. And that's the start of the pit lane entry line. So the fast line and the pit lane are both specified in the AI folder. So those are the only two that really live in here, and then most everything else lives in data. Okay, so those are our basic files. We are trying to maybe drive offline with some opponents, and sometimes you get mod tracks, add-on tracks, and the AI are not either consistent, or they're not competitive, or they're kind of erratic. And so how do you know what to fix based on the various behaviors? If you're having crazy erratic accidents, things like that, then the solution is probably updating the sidelines or the edge boundary lines for the track. Some of the mod tracks that you get, just because of how they were created, the general boundary lines may sort of look like this. And you can see that this boundary line is just sort of like off the edge of the track. This is not anywhere that you'd actually want to drive. If the AI were trying to approach this corner and they were side by side, one of them may think, oh, this is a good place to be. And then as they get funneled in, they actually get squeezed and they get kind of shot back towards this part of the track, and then maybe have to brake really hard, or they run into somebody, and it just causes incidences. So you'd really want this line to be nice and smooth. Sorry, I'm following my outline here. If the AI has slow overall pace, then at that point you're talking more about updating the fast lane. And that's, maybe whoever recorded the fast lane, they were not an alien. They were just some regular person making a track. So maybe the fast lane needs to be updated to be faster. If the AI is having trouble exiting or entering the pits, especially if you're, say, starting a practice session with AI and they all just sit there and don't go anywhere, at that point you need to re-record the pit lane file. If the AI are too fast or too slow in some corners, then you may need to work on the AI hints. Let's see where that is. So this is your AI hints file. All right, so now that we've gone over the different files, let's talk a little bit more about creating each one and then maybe some best practices. And this information is not necessarily going to be 100% complete, but I'm going to try to provide a proper overview to at least get everyone acclimated to all the various possibilities. So we're going to load up Riverside Short. And there's a lot of good examples in Riverside Short that we can use to as guidelines for making our own sidelines. And I'm not loading sidelines here because this track already has really good AI lines. So here you'll see, we're on the straightaway. There's tons of space, but we generally want the cars over here because, we want them to be able to take this turn at a pretty quick clip. And you'll see Lilsky has provided some runoff. The track boundary is not the white line. It's sort of off into the dirt because you want the AI to be able to just, kind of come through here, maybe two at a time, and not lose too much speed so they continue to be competitive. Up here, we're going to approach a wall, and we'll see the red line is not right on the wall, and here it kind of goes underground, so we lost it. But you want to leave a little bit of a gap between the boundary, if you're going to record a new sideline, and the walls. And here, there's some gap over there too. Up here's another good example. There, there's some gap there between the wall and the boundary. Oops. Here we're coming into the S's, and you'll see these boundary lines are kind of funneling the AI into maybe like a single file type of line because you really can't fit two through here effectively and maintain your pace. So that's potentially one way you can use these boundary lines, sidelines. Here again, able to cut the curb a little bit because most cars are still going to be on track at that point. Here, cutting the curb a little bit. Here, cutting the curb a little bit. And most drivers would be cutting these curbs a little bit. And then maybe a little bit of funneling here. So, if I was going to show the pit line. I'm not sure. Anyway, recording new lines with the AI helper. So this is the AI helper. This is this app that I just made recently. It's this thing. You can get it from Race Department. I should be providing links to all the various resources that I'm talking about, the relevant ones anyway, that we're using here in this video. But the AI line helper will help you record the lines. So I'm going to restart the session. And now we're back. This is a hot lap session, so I'm before start finish, which is kind of what you want when you're going to be doing this sort of work. Depending on the type of track, I like using the 98T is not bad. The turning radius is not too quick. So let's hop out actually, and I'm going to load up the Dallara. Oops. The FX17. I like this one quite a bit for recording AI lines. It's stable. It's open wheel, sort of. And you can really see the wheel as it's driving over the curb or the line you want to write. And it's got a pretty tight turning radius. And so all of those things are kind of helpful. other cars that people have liked to use for this type of work would maybe be like the Abarth 593, Lotus Type 25, maybe the Metal X MTX1, that type of thing. But if I was going to be recording the line, I would come up here. So I'm on the right side, so I'm going to hit track right, and this says start tracking right. It's not actually recording yet. So we're going to make our way up to start finish. And I prefer using a chase cam for this type of work because I feel like it gives me a better view of this, because that's what I'm actually drawing with, if you want to think of it that way. So we're coming up to start finish. And now I'm going to slow down. And this is already a pretty good boundary, so I'm probably just going to follow this. And here we go. Right there. So now we're tracking right. And so this is recording where I'm driving with this wheel. And so I would go around the whole track and use this wheel to define where the boundary was that I wanted to use. And so you drive all the way around, you come past start finish, and this would switch back to sort of your default view, saying, Riverside, maybe the config, and then show you the position on track. When you cross start finish, it's going to write that side file. So that would be the right side. And this is, of course, Hockenheim. But so when you cross start finish, it's going to write that side R file. And then you could say restart the session. And now it's tracking right. But you'd hit track left. It won't let me do it because it's still tracking right. And then you would do the procedure over again. And it would write the side left file. So then, once we have the side right and side left files, we can go to go back to Hockenheim. We're going to start Hockenheim, and then I'm going to hold down the Shift key while this track is loading. And I'm going to keep holding it down, keep holding it down, keep holding it down. No big deal. Okay, now, because I held down the Shift key, it loaded those side files, which we have available, which are right here. You can see the yellow lines. And it also used these side lines to update the fast lane, which you can see has a date matching right now. So the fast lane just got updated with these new side lines. So you don't have to re-record the fast lane. You only have to create those side files, the sideline left and right files. So do you want to, after you've recorded these sideline files, do you want to keep them around? It doesn't hurt to keep them around. You can delete them. You don't need them anymore, technically, after you've, baked them into the Fastlane file. But let's say, you're practicing the track like a week from now. You've learned some better new lines. Then you could come back and re-record the Fastlane with these side files, and it would still use those proper track boundaries. So I would generally say, keep these things around, or at least back them up in a zip or something like that, so you don't have to go back and re-record them, because it can be a little bit of a tedious process. Because if you're recording sideline files, you don't want to be driving a track quickly. I mean, you generally want to drive the track in a way that you're being accurate about where the tire is. And if you're trying to kind of hoon your way around the track, then you're not going to be as accurate with this drawing of the sideline file. So something to think about. Okay, so you need to record a new fast lane. The way you would do that is with this AI tool in Assetto Corsa. And if you're recording fast lane, you'd maybe be doing that in your regular cockpit view. So you need to make sure your dev tools are enabled before you can actually use the dev tools. And so there's Assetto Corsa INI, system config, Assetto Corsa INI, and there's a enable dev apps. So that's got to be one. And then once that's turned on, over here, this is your AI app. And so now this is loaded, and you can record a fast lane using this start recording button, or you can record a pit lane using this button. So one of the tricks with recording the fast lane is that you want to make sure you're behind but very close to the start finish line. So I'm going to bring up my I'm having a moment. This thing, yeah, sorry, it's already open. Okay, so we want to get super close to start finish. Well, we don't want to go over it. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go over it. Okay, so it's right about there. Now I'm going to back up. Let me check this again. It's actually right at the white line, so that's good. It's not always right at the white line, to be honest. Sometimes it's a little bit ahead of, or behind or whatever. So I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to hit start recording, and boom. Now I'm going to start driving my laps, and you're going to want to do these laps at speed. You may want to use a GT3 car for this, something sort of fast-ish, maybe not F1, but something, you know, faster than a road car. And you want to drive this thing pretty close to race pace. You can run slow laps to record your AI lines, but if you do that, then you can't use your fast lane file as your ideal line. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So you kind of want to try to run these things at race pace if at all possible. Once you've recorded your fast lane file, you're going to get a candidate. So I'm just going to hop out here. So you see this pit lane AI candidate. You'd have something like a fast lane AI candidate. And then you could promote the candidate to the fast lane AI file. But of course, you would have to actually have completed driving around. You can run basically as many laps as you want while you're recording. And every time you pass start finish, then that last lap becomes the new candidate, basically. And you want to make sure you hit your save AI, and that's going to, you know, make sure that your candidate file saves. And then after you've, you know, recorded the new fast lane, you're probably going to want to run some tests with the AI. So maybe, you know, start up a quick race with the AI, you know, 3-4 laps, something like that, just to make sure that you got the intended effect of your new fast lane. And again, if you ran your fast lane file at race pace, then you can use your fast lane to make your new ideal line. This can be slow to exit. And the ideal line is the line on the road. It's this driver line when you're driving around, and it shows, you know, it'll be your braking and coasting and accelerating performance from driving your fast lane, or your, you know, your, when you're recording your fast line file, which is kind of why you want to do it at speed. It also helps the AI sort of try to figure out fuel usage. So it's good to maybe have those two files be in sync, you know, if at all possible. recording a new pit lane file. So your pit lane recording, see this thing's still exiting. It can take a long time to exit if you're using these AI tools. So recording a new pit lane, you should probably exit your session. Like if you just recorded a new fast lane file, you probably want to exit your session and then load back up the fast lane file to record the pit lane, just so you can make sure that you're blending away from and then back into the fast lane. One of the things about the recording your pit lane, and of course you can start here with just a a hot lapping session, is that you can start and stop the recording. You don't have to actually drive a full lap. So you generally want to start recording your pit lane. So here I'm actually going to back up a little bit so I can get on the fast line. And the pit lane, it doesn't really matter as much about driving fast or slow. I don't think. But anyway, so you would say start pits. Actually, we'll do it right here. Okay, I'm going to back up. I'm going to do this over. Do it the right way. Yeah, see my recording right there? Silly. Nope. Trying to drive backwards. All right, so here we are. All right, so I'm on my fast lane. I'm going to start recording, and then I'm going to start diverging from the fast lane, and then come to the pit lane. Drive through, nice and easy. Because we have to. It's pit lane. And then you want to make sure you're following blend lines if they exist. You want to try to keep this thing sort of, off the fast line. Eventually, bring them together. Maybe try to keep it a little straighter than I am. And then you could maybe stop recording here if you wanted, or try to follow it through the turn, and then out of the turn, and then oops, I had the wrong one. Anyway, I was recording the wrong file, but you would stop maybe here or back there on the straight once you've blended it and you're good there. Okay. So if the AI is, say, too fast or slow in some corners, then, what can we do? Well, we have this AI hints file. And you'll see, we have some hints. We have hint 0, hint 1, and then we have a start and an end and then a value. And the value is basically like, how much of, 1 would be 100%. How much of 100% do you want the AI to try to drive this area of the track from start to end? And so what are these numbers? So we're going to go over what those numbers are. I refer to these numbers a lot as the pot, capital P, little o, capital T. Position on track is what these are. And conveniently in the AI line helper, there's this number here. This is your pot. And so quick check of my AI file, 0.2778 to 0.3271. Okay. 2278 to, nope, keep it on track. So we're going to drive to 2278. Okay, getting close. All right, here we are. 2778. I was like, yeah, this doesn't make any sense. Okay. Okay, so coming into this corner, I think they were going a little too fast, getting a little too aggressive, and it was kind of causing a bunch up here. And it could also have been related to what this area was doing over here. So 2278, or 2778. Right about here, I want to like just calm it down a little bit, 90%, and then so through this little complex here, just sort of like not 100%, just quick but not crazy, and then back out this way. And if you're having them drive less than 100%, obviously they're going to be a little slower. Right? So you have to sort of try to balance their consistency and, not being crazy erratic, with, being fast and being safe. So it's always kind of a balance there. And you're basically going to need to do some trial and error on this. So hit 1 is 4600. So let's drive to there. So we're getting really close to 4600. So right about here, obviously you can see where we're coming into this chicane, and I was having a lot of problems with the AI just banging around a lot right in here. So my initial solution was let's just take it down, run at 52% through this. I just want you to get through without causing a big wreck fest. And then they're gonna try to keep calm through to over here somewhere. And then once they're out, then okay, go back to normal, 100%. Some other things we could try would be, all right, let's try fixing these lines through here. Let's try to give them a little more space, coming up into this curb, so maybe they're not clipping it and then spinning themselves around. Let's maybe try to funnel them a little bit more coming into here, so they're not using this whole track, because then they get, if they end up being too wide trying to go through here, like that's just not going to work. You can't, it's hard to fit 2 cars through there. So if you funnel them a little bit more and try to direct them, they single file, and then this would be a little more a little safer. They'd be a little more consistent getting through there, and they might not be as fast as you or me, like if we know how to really work those corners. But I mean, there's only so much we're going to expect the AI to do. And of course, it's going to be a lot of trial and error to see if that's going to work or not. So I think that's everything I have in my outline, oddly enough. So, if this is helpful, if you felt like any of the information was maybe not accurate, definitely let me know here on YouTube or in the race department forums. I'll post this up over there, and then maybe I'll make some links to the AI line helper app. I need to update the version, and maybe a link over to Lilski's Riverside, because that's an awesome track. And that's it. So, if you enjoy the video, you find it helpful, please consider, giving it a like, subscribe to the channel for future information, future videos, and thank you very much. All right, bye.